These are the victims of October 7th, when an invading army come in, massacred, pillaged their way through innocent communities. A music festival, and they didn't just do them on the spot. As we know, they took hundreds of them back to tunnels. When you think about it, like, people have just been released just 2 days ago. They spent nearly 700 days in total solitary underground in tunnels. And whilst all that was going on, I don't remember hearing much from our politicians or government about releasing the hostages. That's all that should have been the cry for, because the war would have stopped a year ago, 2 years ago, if they just released the hostages. But the call wasn't for them to release the hostages. All the people on the streets of the UK every single week wasn't about releasing the hostages. It was never about releasing the hostages. So, if they really wanted the war to stop, that's all they should have been crying for and screaming for and working for, but they weren't. Keir Starmer wasn't, Macron wasn't. They were just working to appease the group who orchestrated and planned this. That's what they were working to do, and that's what they ended up doing just in the last couple of months, recognising a Palestinian state where this state that they've recognised operate a function of pay to slay. Our taxpayers' money, the government that we just recognised, who run the Palestinian state, pay people to... That's the government that has just been recognised by the British state. It's insane. It's like, would you have given ISIS a state during their conflict in Syria? Would you have recognised ISIS state and give them legitimacy? Why would you recognise this state? Governed by terrorists and jihadists. But it's just weak and cowardly leadership by the West. Unfortunately, it's what we have all become accustomed to see, is that our leaders, rather than tackle and confront jihad, they bend to it. They bend to everything. So yeah, unfortunately, this isn't just soldiers. This was innocent. They raped, they murdered, and it wasn't just Jews they'd done it to either. Yeah, there was some Thai workers. There was different nationalities that were non-Jewish. They all got. So this whole conflict that people go on about, it's like what you think Hamas' only target. Hamas on October 8th come out and said that our goal isn't Israel, our goal is London and New York. This is a jihadist organisation, a jihadist mindset governing the entire Palestinian state, recognised by the British, which wants a caliphate. It wants world domination. It's not just about Israel. And I've always said that, you see, if they obliterated this beautiful beacon of democracy in the Middle East, if this was gone, you think they're stopping there? You think that's their target? They're coming straight through. The security issues that this nation faces, i.e. everything. Do you know, I come here in 2016 and I looked at all the bollards to prevent cars ramming up on the side of the street when I was here in 2016, and I looked and said, we're going to need this. We're going to need all of this. Yeah. And fast forward on, you can't have a Christmas market, can't have a festival, can't have anything without these bollards. So what this country and these people have to face is what we're going to face in Europe. Because the growing threat of jihad, the growing threat of extremism, the growing threat of Islam, which dominates and surrounds this nation, is going to surround us. And it's already starting to. The only difference is they have a government who have gone through successive battles. They tried to appease. Do you know, last time I was here, I met a Jewish girl who had her family, and they were based in Gaza the whole of their generation after generation after generation. The IDF dragged them out of their home, because they made a deal with Hamas that all the Jews would be removed from Gaza and that would bring about peace. It's never going to bring about peace. You can't negotiate with these people. Yeah? You can't negotiate with them because they don't want peace. They want rid of every Jew. They want world domination. They want an attack on all of us as non-Muslims. So it's the Jews today, it's us tomorrow. First comes Saturday, that's their saying. First comes Saturday, then comes Sunday. And when you hear jihadis talk about that, that's the Jews, because their Sabbath is on a Saturday, and then it's the Christians who's on Sunday.
British activist Tommy Robinson has resurfaced in Israel, broadcasting a live stream that blended personal conviction, political commentary, and dire warnings about the global spread of Islamist extremism. Robinson described his visit as both an act of solidarity and a grim reminder of what he sees as Europe's looming future. Robinson's central argument was clear: that Hamas's violence is not limited to Israel, but reflects a broader ideology threatening Western democracies. Hamas on October 8th came out and said that our goal isn't Israel. Our goal is London and New York, he declared. This is a jihadist organization with a jihadist mindset governing the entire Palestinian state, recognized by the British. which wants a caliphate. It wants world domination. Robinson drew parallels between Israel's security measures and what he believes is Europe's unpreparedness. When I came here in 2016, I looked at all the bollards along the streets, he recalled. I said, "We're going to need this." Fast forward to now. You can't have a Christmas market or a festival without them. What Israel faces today, we're going to face tomorrow. His remarks come at a time of heightened tension in Britain, where debates over extremism, free speech, and online radicalization continue to divide public opinion. Robinson's rhetoric, linking the Gaza conflict to European security and Islamic migration, has long been criticized as inflammatory, yet it continues to resonate with a growing segment of disillusioned citizens who view mainstream media and political institutions as complicit in suppressing uncomfortable truths.
Millions of British pensioners risk becoming so-called second-class citizens in their own country because of Labour's digital ID scheme. Well, joining me now is the director of Silver Voices, Dennis Reed. Dennis, welcome to the show. It's a pleasure to have your company. It's been far too long, my friend. And look, it was obvious that a digital scheme would leave pensioners behind, but the numbers are astonishing. Millions of British pensioners could be simply treated as second-class citizens.
Yeah, this is looking very much like another political folly involving pensioners, because it's outrageous, really, that they've launched this scheme for a national ID card system without saying what is going to happen to millions of people who may be excluded from services and benefits. I mean, we asked, what's going to happen to people who don't have a smartphone? The answer is, we're going to deal with that during consultation. I mean, you can't sort of talk about millions of people being excluded from the system. What the government seems to be saying is, unless you have a smartphone and unless you can actually download apps on it, you're not going to be a full member of society. That's what they're basically saying.
And the fact of the matter is, the numbers are startling. There are 4.3 million older people who don't use smartphones and 1.6 million who don't even have one. And so if it's going to be mandatory to have one, people are simply going to drop out of being able to interface with the system. That can't be fair.
Yes, and there's another few million as well who may have smartphones, but they only use them for old-fashioned purposes like making phone calls. And a lot of people with smartphones, a lot of older people with smartphones, haven't got the first idea how to handle apps. And they may not even be able to digitally manipulate apps in order to reach the appropriate page. So there are millions more than that actually involved, I believe.
Yeah, my dad's 87 and he's just about got beyond the carrier pigeon. Thank you very much, Dennis Reed. An absolute pleasure to have you on the show as ever. Thank you very much.